Stampers, this is Trevis. Thanks for watching today and welcome to Tuesday's YouTube. So today for our technique, we're going to be continuing some no line watercoloring. And as I said on Friday, I am so into this and I just keep looking at my stamp sets, seeing what stamps can I no line watercolor. And so I'm learning, I am getting better. I think. I hope you think so. And I hope you'll try it. So let's get started today. I'm going to be using a stamp set from the annual catalog. It's called Garden Wishes. So this was in a mini catalog and it carried over to the annual catalog. I sure hope it's not going to retire. I love it. It's a very natural, earthy set, and I just think it's perfect for this technique. So let's get started today and talk you through it. I am going to be using tons of stamp pads today because when you do no line watercoloring, you need to bring a lot of color into your image. And the more you do, the more it comes to life. And so the stamp that I'm going to be using is this one. Let's see, I hope you're not getting any glare. And I'm going to be using, for my no line, I'm going to use a very pale green. This is called Soft Sea Foam. And I'm going to stamp the image in this. So I'm just going to stamp the image right there. Okay, and you can see how pale that is, right? But it gives you all you need to work with. It's good to keep the stamp handy so you can look at it, because sometimes you can't really see all those intricate pieces. So if you keep the image of the stamp handy, that will help you in your coloring. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, and Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to be using my water painter, again, my smallest brush. So again, you have those three, right, that come in a pack. You have the very small one, the bigger one, and then the one that's kind of like a paintbrush, which is awesome if you're using watercolor paper and you want to really wet the paper, or you want to wet your envelope and never want to have to lick another envelope. You can use that too. So this is awesome. You can refill these. You can fill them with alcohol, water, and you never have to buy more. You just buy one set. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Mossy Meadow, the darkest of the three. And I don't have the re-inker here. Hang on a second. It's really good to use a re-inker. Okay, so find the re-inker. Here it is, Mossy Meadow. So if you haven't used your re-inkers in a while, you want to give those a good shake, right, in case there's any settling. So give your re-inker a shake and then put a little re-inker, just a little bit right there on the lid. You don't have to wipe that off when you're done. Just keep it there because you'll use it again and you don't have to keep doing what I just did. Okay, so I'm not going to squeeze it. I don't want a whole lot of water. What's cool about this aqua painter is it's very fine tip. So even though it's a brush, it'll give you a fine tip to work with. And so the first thing I'm going to do is basically I'm going to start outlining some of these darker areas. And I'm just going to go along some of these dark areas. Okay. And pull up so you can see how nice this brush works, right? It's so, see, you can pull up more ink, okay, and make it lighter or darker depending on how much water is involved, okay? So I'm just going to go over some of these lines. I have a finished one, okay? So sometimes it's easier to do off camera when you're just sitting here drinking your coffee, not worrying about people watching you. You just have your TV going, you got your coffee in your hand, and you're just working away. So this is a pretty big image, right? So I'm going to just use greens. And then I'm also going to go to the yellows, and I'm going to use Bumblebee, Crushed Curry, and Pumpkin Pie. And Bumblebee is one of my favorite colors, but it's, guess what? It's an in color, and it's going to be going bye-bye in May, the end of May, or sorry, the beginning of May. The in colors are going to be going, so keep that in mind. If you love Bumblebee like I do, you maybe have the pad, but you don't have the re-inker, you might want to think about getting that re-inker now. Okay, so as you go through here and just keep pulling up these different vines and the veins to the leaves. So you don't need to go over every single one, because you're going to bring in more color later, right? So you just want to bring in, but I just love how these water painters actually are just so easy to use. The tips. So I'm going to go a little darker here on this one. So these are 3, I guess those are dandelions. I don't know. I never thought dandelion being a flower, but sure looks good on this one. Okay, I'm just going to bring in some more green in here. Darker green first, and then I'm going to come back with some lighters. So the key with watercoloring, no line watercoloring, is you want things to dry in between, right? You don't want to just keep globbing water on top of water. Okay, and you get to be the artist. That's the cool part. It does the work for you by giving you all the lines, and you get to be the artist and use your own colors, use your own talent, and go from there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, I've got a little makeup sponge here, and I'm going to squeeze a little bit and get the color off there, because I'm going to go to some yellow now. I'm going to let that dry. And now I'm going to go to Crushed Curry. And again, I'm going to just pull up some color here on my lid. And I'm going to go over this dandelion, the big one first. So this is a watercolor technique, so you just can kind of do some light and dark coloring. And then while that's still wet, I'm going to bring in a little bit darker color. And I think that would be Pumpkin Pie. I know you're thinking orange. Yeah, I want to bring in some orange. And I'm kind of going to go, I'm not going to color the whole thing, right? I'm just going to go squeeze a little water. I'm going to go just and put some color around the edges here a little bit. You can dry it with a heat gun if you're impatient and you don't want to wait for it to dry. You could dry it with your heat gun. Ooh, it's coming along. I like it. Every one you do will look different. It's kind of the cool thing, right? One time you'll do it and you'll bring in maybe a different color. Like maybe you'll bring a little purple in, right? You could make a little purple. That would be kind of cool too. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my greens because I think this is dry. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my old olive this time. Not quite as dark as Mossy Meadow, but pretty dark. And don't be afraid to try it over here on your paper. Good thing I have my glasses on because, wow, it's hard to see sometimes. So I'm going to get my new glasses, my new reading glasses. I went to the eye doctor today, and he said, yes, you're going to need readers. And so I couldn't decide if I just wanted readers. So like I have now, they kind of hang down on my nose all the time, right? Ugh, kind of a drag. So I think I'm going to get, I got those progressives, or whatever they're called. They're clear at the top because I don't need the distance anymore. But then I won't have to keep taking them off and on. I know. I wanted to get away from glasses, but yet the always reaching for those readers, that's kind of a drag too. I'll bring in a little bit more shading here. So now I have that dark line, right, from the Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to kind of lighten that up a little. I don't want that so severe, so I'm going to just lighten that up a little. Bring it a little dark. So I have to remember I have to let this dry. I'm just keep going over and over it with wet, and it you know, it's not going to be as pretty if I don't let it dry. Because when I did that little chick, if I didn't let the chick dry and I tried to color in the eye, it just spread and it just looked horrible. Had a big giant eye. So I had to redo one because it just didn't look good. But look at that. You just have so much control. So cool. I love it. I'm going to bring in a little dark up here. So get your aqua painter or your water painter, whatever you want to call them. If you have the old aqua painters, go for it. You have something you can use. Okay, I'm gonna let that. I'm just gonna put some little dots there to kind of. Okay. Just got these little makeup, they're not brushes, what are they? Little makeup, not a sponge either. Cotton pads from like the pharmacy. That's where I picked them up. Okay, now I'm gonna pull in another color. I'm gonna pull in some, I know you're gonna say cinnamon cider. Yeah, I'm gonna pull in some cinnamon cider. And I'm gonna kind of go around the edges here, make that a little darker. Ooh, I like it. So the edge of a, I mean, is this a dandelion? I think it is. They're kind of wispy, right? See how you can kind of bring them. And this, I'm just here to tell you that this shimmery white cardstock is awesome. It's perfect for this technique. In fact, I just ordered 2 more packs because you don't get a whole lot in a pack, unfortunately. All right. So anyway, you get the idea, right? And if you get it too wet, it'll kind of just bleed on its own, which sometimes is cool too. Okay, so all that being said, now I'm going to show you my finished card. So I did this technique, and maybe I like this one better. I don't know. I like this one a lot. And what I did was I cut this 2 inches wide so that I could put it in a punch and do a tag top. Okay, so I cut it 2 inches, and then I tag topped the top, and then I wanted to use some ribbon at the top of my tag. And this ribbon is awesome. So this is in the mini catalog, and it's called Frayed Ribbon. It's in white, only comes in white, but it's so wide. So I thought, what if I cut it in half? So I cut it in half, and then I frayed it even more, and oh, I love it. It really, really is shabby chic. If you like shabby chic, give it a try. It's so cool. Then I wanted to do a background, and so I used my Hive 3D embossing folder. And so this is in the mini catalog also, and it's a 3D, so it's a nice, heavy impression. And what I did was, a girlfriend of mine tried this. She used Shimmery Paste. It's called, hang on a second. It's called Shimmery White Paste. And I added some re-inker to it, okay? And then I smeared it on cardstock with my spatula, and then I ran it through the embossing folder. Okay, and I did it while it was wet, and I thought, oh dear, it's going to be a mess. I did it thin, so it really wasn't messy. It didn't squeeze out and wasn't totally messy, but I did have to run this through some soap and water. It's got a little shimmer left on it, but I think it's okay. Some hot water and soap to get that paste off of it. If you're using embossing paste, I should tell you, before it dries, you need to clean it, okay? Your spatula and your embossing folder. And here's my finished card. Okay, so I cut that 2 inches. I used the tag topper. I frayed that ribbon. Okay, so I ran it through just like a regular ribbon topper, but I frayed it. I just kept pulling on it, and it made that cool frayed look. I did use our little bumblebees. Okay, they're the bumblebee trinkets. They are in the big annual catalog, so I put one of those on there with a mini glue dot, and you can see how cool that shimmery paste ended up with that Hive folder. And if you want to know where this saying came from, it did not come from this Garden Wishes stamp set. It actually came from the, it's called, hang on a second, I'll read it to you if I can find it. I love that little For You. And it's the, hang on a second, can't find it. Oh, sorry. I don't see it. Hang on a second. Oh, friends are like seashells. That's the stamp set I used the saying from. This little For You is from Friends Are Like Seashells, and that's from the annual catalog also. And then I just die cut that. So there's my finished card. So you can see how different these look, right? This one has a little brighter green. I kind of like it. This one is a little more subtle. I did put a little edging on it, and I did use a little shadowing on this one. I did a little Sahara sand shadowing very lightly, and then I put a little on the edges here. But I did make I like that too at the bottom. Okay, so there's my finished card today, and that's a technique, No Line Watercoloring. Give me some comments if you like seeing these techniques, or if you'd rather just see simple cards. I'm available to do either. Try some fun folds, whatever you guys like. But I have so many videos out here now, and I need to get some feedback to how to continue. So talk to you later. Have a great week. Bye.